Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. This is Pro Cycling Measure 2019 Stage Racer episode number 34. We're moving on to the final two races of the year, and then we're probably going to get started on the new season. Our first time officially in the World Tour. First up, we have the Milano-Torino race. You can see we've got two climbs at the end of this one. Looks like same climb, I think. No, not the same climb. Just very, very similar climb. But they're both 5 to 5.5 kilometers in length with a 7% average gradient. We're going to skip straight to the end of this one, and we'll see what we could do with this. This is our last good chance of the year to earn some quality points. The breakaway has 7 riders, 2.5 minute lead. It is coming down, but not terribly quickly, but they're not going to last too much longer. We are approaching the first of the two climbs, though, so it's just about time, and I think I need to bring it on down and get my team set and ready to go. So here's my thoughts on this one. First off, I'm picked among the favorites, but only just, so I'm inside the top 10 of the choices for the day. There are some elite riders here. I think Adam Yates is the favorite overall. But looking around, you can see there's Vincenzo Nibali, and he's not even wearing the team leader number. Overall, as a contender, and my team thinking that I need to finish in third, knowing that my team is pretty weak on these climbs, my thought is, first time over, I'll use up a few of them early on, save a few, hopefully for the second climb, or a couple anyway, for the second climb, and I myself actually might do some of the leading for my team on this first climb. Just a little bit, just towards the end. Not to burn myself out, just enough. I think the descent is enough that I'll recover a bit, especially the second part of the descent. Having the team support for the beginning of that climb will be useful. So we're going to set up an unusual sprint train that will change as we go along. But I definitely think that's the way to go. Rodriguez, oh, come on, -3s today. These guys are ready to wrap up their season. Restrepo, I've got Lastra. Yes, Lastra's my guy. So Rodriguez and Lastra. And then I'm going to follow Restrepo. Now, from the other three, what do we have? Beck is looking pretty okay, so we can follow him. Herrera and Malicelli. Malicelli's the weakest climber, so we need to use him. He's not going to last but a few seconds, even though he's on a positive race day condition. We'll keep him right at the front. Everybody else will pull up behind him here. Oh, where are you going, buddy? Where are you going, Malicelli? Oh, you decided you wanted to protect now because everybody else has got some sort of assignment. I see. Well, at a 70, it seems that we're not doing any harm. Morera's the farthest back now. Restrepo's the farthest back. So most of the team already into position in time. That's good. I don't know how many times we've tried to get these guys all up into position, and then they don't make it in time, and things go astray. Restrepo still needs to come up a little bit higher, though. He's supposed to be in front of me. There he goes. Alright, so we're coming up on the climb, and we begin. 7 degrees right off the bat. Malicelli is weak, so he's not going to last long. The pace is picking up. Richie Porte really picking it up. Fellini picking it up. Nibali picking it up, but now they sit back a little bit. Not looking to attack at this point, just looking to stay near the front. So Malicelli, as long as he's hanging in there. And if he's sliding back, which he's starting to, we accelerate a little bit. And now it's starting to do the damage to him. We're already a good chunk of the way through this first climb. He's really starting to lose pace now. He's getting the team swallowed up. Come on, Malicelli. Oh, I didn't set these guys up. Shoot. Alright, we have a lot of the team here. We do. Let's get Beck moving. Bring us forward. We do not want to get dropped here as we go over the top. Oh, the good news is we're almost to the top here. And I still have a lot of team members around. Beck will get us over the top here successfully. However, I think Restrepo's lost the wheel. He has. I'm right there. We shouldn't be seeing a big drop, though. Peloton's down to 31. Restrepo will recover. Ooh. No, we just got caught by a split here. Restrepo still trying to make contact with Beck. And Beck's hanging on to the back end of that group. There we go, back to 46. Get back up there, Restrepo. Alright, now Restrepo at the moment is done. I'm going to have him go back. Lastra is here, but he has got very little energy. Let's get you in line behind Beck.
There's now just 10 kilometers left.
Beck, continue recovery. Stay in place. Alright, so we have a peloton of 46 riders. We are going to need to move forward before we get to the base. Let's try to get back up there now. There you go, right towards the front. Good. There's Lastra. Okay, Restrepo is recovering, so let's go ahead and bring him back up to second wheel.
5 kilometers to the finish line.
Oh, come on, Restrepo. There we go. Okay, Beck. Let's try a 90. Accelerate, take it to the left side here, so we've got a little bit of room to run. It's 4K. That's not what happened at the end of the last episode. Okay, Restrepo's about to drop out. I really did just come up ahead of these guys. Lastra's done too. Use the gel.
It's in such percentages that the strongest can create some gaps.
Okay, let's use the sneak. Come forward. We're down to 39 riders and 2K to go. Stay at an 89 on third wheel. But there's Haig and Yates. I'm okay if I take second in this. We're down to 8 riders now. 1K to go. 1K to go. This is it. Just a gentle acceleration for now. We're coming up on the top. 600 meters. Turn left, coming up on the finish. Let's sprint with what we have left. Come on. Come on. It's us and Yates. Here comes Yates. I think we can cover him here. Oops, I blocked him. My bad. We got the win. Nice. All right. Better than expected. Jack Haig, lead out for Yates. Really helped him get towards the top. But for a change, as we reach the end of the season, I actually got quality team support for a change. Rodriguez, well, his negative race day condition didn't help him much. But Restrepo, Lastra, and today my champion was absolutely Beck. He got us there. Got us over the line. Made it easy for me. Yates would have had my number. I probably could have finished about 4th if not for that support. Plenty of quality in the field below us. I mean, you got Bardet takes 5th, Pozzovivo, Conrad, Malama, DeMarquis, and Landa round out the top 10. Then you've got Grossschartner, Frele, Egg, Roglic. Even after that, you got Guerrero, Gonçalves, Gugard, Ciccone down there. So all the way down to the edge of the top 20, almost every name is a quality climber. And we beat them all, including Adam Yates, to take the victory. That is our 11th victory of the season. Probably the last. That final race, the World Tour race in China, is almost all flat stages. And there's one or two that are a little bit punchy, and that's going to be it. I'm actually going to quick sim through most of them, as it's not suited to us and I shouldn't be contesting the overall. We get a very good evaluation, 24 points, still well short of level 17, but let's see, November, December, and then into January. I think that'll be enough. We should level up by January 1st. So we'll move forward into that race. Like I said, I am going to take that risk of quick simming. With all those sprint stages, we're really not contesting the overall. So we're going to look for a little stage victory. And even though we're not a punchy climber, it depends on who's there. And a lot of people are going to be on really bad form, low fitness, giving us a better chance. I think that was a factor in the win that we just took over Adam Yates and other top climbers, is that they're winding their seasons down at this point, and fitness levels are dropping considerably, but I'm maintaining mine, giving me a little advantage as we move forward. Well, now that the sim's actually moving quickly enough here, I might as well just stay with it. We'll see what those results are until we get to our first active stage. First, quick look at the profile. So stage 1, definitely one. It's just stage 4, it looks like, that we're going to have. Flat, flat, flat. Okay, one little climb at the end. A little bit there, but I don't think that's going to do much damage to the field. And then, yeah, flat. That's it. So plenty of quick sims, of course. If I have a good result and in a good position on that stage 4, I'll have to do the final stage, stage 6, just to get credit, some points. But these first stages, no need to bother with them. We'll just see if we happen to stay in the group on the flat and get some sort of team support. Jasper Philipsen takes the first stage. Sorry, you might hear the kids screaming. They're getting... It's raining, so instead of their outside gym time, they're inside getting a little athletic activity in right now, which is including a little bit of running, jumping, and, of course, kids like to scream at that point. Nasser Bouani takes stage number 2. Let's see if we are still in the overall. Same time. Yeah, there we are. So, no time losses through the first 2 stages. You don't gain points this way, by the way. So, this is not helping us level up. However, with whatever our role may be, unless it's teammate, we're not going to earn any points through this anyway. And at this point, I'm not worried about a few points. We're worried about the time. Alright, so we're still same time, and Philipsen wins again. He is joining my career mode squad 4 next season, so if you've been watching that series as well, looking forward to him being our new team leader, and our new highest rated rider coming to the team for next season. This is it, stage 4. Let's go ahead and jump in late in the stage, just a little bit prior to the climb. It's going to be a short enough climb, 4K. It does hit 10%, but it's only a 5% average gradient. Over 4K, that's pretty weak. And it's definitely going to come down to who's the punchiest. And I'm surprised Lambrecht is not up there a little bit higher, but I guess I have hit that point where I've got a 78 in the hills now. And that resistance, you can see now my resistance is pretty much matching everybody else's. So yes, we are finally getting to that point where even for a punchy climb, I do have a chance. 13K left to go. We're coming up towards the finish. And it's time to put my plan into place. Morera is supposed to be part of that plan, but he's going back to get water right now. So that's not exactly a good thing. But we're going to set up our sprint train, and we want to attack with only a small number of guys, so we're not using everyone. Lastra is going to be part of it. He's a 74 on the hills with decent resistance. And actually, no, Beck is looking better today. So we're going to put Beck first, then Lastra. And then Aaron Burrow, who would normally be stronger, 76. But the low resistance, actually, he's better than Lastra today as well. So let's go ahead and go with Aaron Burrow, then Lastra. And Restrepo would normally be part of this. But you can see he's got a 61 resistance today. Backart, he's our guy for the flat. That's why he's at the front doing his work now. Morera is supposed to be with us, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Now, what I need to do, though, is I need to get these guys all set to a 99. So let's reset this. Let's get everyone set to a 99. There we go, because it's a short climb. It's only 4K. We're going to attack it hard. And if Morera gets back, then it's all good. But I want you to get behind Backart. Can you do that for me? Okay, here comes Morera, so we might get him back into the mix. And then we could actually use Backart. Ooh, no, Backart. Go back. Get up there. Morera still coming with the water. Let's bring it on down so we know what's going on. But I need to be the one selected for that to work. Okay, there's Morera. And we are already approaching the climb, and we're still not forward. So Backart, come on up. Come on up, buddy. Oh, don't ride through the fence. Okay, 89. Here's Lastra. Aaron Burrow, come on. Get up there. I hate how my team always does this. Now we're not in position. It's already down to 3K. Aaron Burrow, come on. Okay, we're just going to use Aaron Burrow right now. He needs to fight through the field. Let's go. Okay. 2.4K. He's going to just keep on fighting. Never mind these guys. Do your own thing. Do your own thing. Aaron Burrow. There's Beck still on his wheel. Okay. I need to use my gel, and I need to just go through the field myself. 1.4K.
The riders are going through a very tough portion with percentages above 10%.
800 meters. Sprint. I still have yellow bar, but I'm out of red bar, so it's going to be difficult to do anything with. I wasted all that energy getting to the front because my team let me down again. Fifth? Yes. Corneliusen, Conrad, Kalmanchan, Carl Frederick Hagen. I take fifth. I easily could have won that. Come on. Oh, my team. My team. Jeez, guys. disappointing last race with the team. Really sums up what I got from this team a lot. I was able to do a lot more myself, but just a lot of times the team support just was insufficient. Those guys had the pace, had the strength, had the ability. Backart was right at the front, and I've got everybody coming up to him, and then all of a sudden he just drops back. And then all of a sudden we're fighting through the field. And then we hit the base of the climb and it gets tight and the collisions are everywhere. And all of a sudden I have to drop 2 guys because there's a split and now I've got to chase. And then I end up having to leave my entire team behind and go myself just to get through it and get to the front. But then by then I used up all my red bars, so I couldn't actually sprint for the finish, which I easily could have won if I was at the front. It happens. It happens, but with my career mode, it doesn't happen. I make it work. Just pro cyclist mode, again and again. This happens to me, and I never can quite get the riders to do what you need them to do, to be in the positions you need them to be in. I think when I'm team leader, I just need to play it the way I do career mode and not let them do their own thing for most of the stage. It still doesn't put me anywhere up the standings at all, so we will quick sim those last 2 stages and the season will be done. We gain 4 points of progression. Yeah, that's not much. Before we move on to January 1st, we'll get a final tally on the point standings once this race is done and dusted. And why don't we go ahead and just quick sim through this, see those final results, who wins the race overall. It's the last World Tour race, so there's nothing coming up after this. So we'll take that as Sasha Modolo takes the next stage here. And 1 more to go. So with 11 victories this year, 13 a year ago, the majority from a year ago were youth races, though. I didn't take much in terms of continental level races. This year as Continental Pro rider, I had a number of World Tour races. Not a large number, but some anyway. And did manage to get some victories at the World Tour level already. Competed at a higher level all year. Didn't have any youth races this year. Nearly won the World Championships for the individual time trial, placing 2nd. So there's Magnus Cort Nielsen, by the way, took the final stage. I didn't pay attention to who won the overall, my bad. But what we will look at here now on the 21st of October with the transfer market closing, the big move. Decathlon Quickstep taking up Lopez. Gaviria going to AG2R. Thomas going to UAE. Ewan going to EF Education. Moss going to Movistar. Lampart also going there. Viviani going to Lotto Soudal. I'm going to CCC. I've made it onto the biggest moves list. Awesome. Stefan Mark going to Lotto Soudal. Tish Benut to Koenig. And Sonny Colbrelli going to AG2R. Alright. That finishes up that part, that leg. Here's the big thing, though. So, what are the results for the year? Again, in terms of team, last episode we already highlighted this, but coming from Continental Pro up to World Tour status will be Total Direct Energy and their large budget. The team with the low budget that's missing out is Team Dimension Data. 19th, they're still 3.5 stars right there in that group, but it's not enough, so they're going to drop down to Continental Pro status. My new team is only ranked 15th, so it's not like we're moving up to a powerhouse or anything, but it at least is going from a 3.5 star program to a 4-star program this next year. Of course, the main reason for that is actually my inclusion with the team. Final standings, Chris Froome is the World Tour champion this year. I am the Continental champion this year with 1,554 points. And I do stay in 7th place in the Super Prestige. And in terms of the Game Decathlon, if you're tracking that at all, that's 388 points earned. So 388 is a really good total. That's not great though. I can get 400 plus usually in Continental Pro, but considering the season hasn't been as dominant as it certainly could be, 11 victories is not bad, but ultimately a good year. But as we move up to World Tour status, our score should be quite a bit higher next year. The awesome thing is it was still already good enough for 7th in the world. So next year we should be up closer to these top 3 or 4 spots. But I think it'll be probably a second year before we really get up there and start competing for Grand Tour victories. As a team, Ineos claims the World Tour title. Cofidis claims the Continental title. So despite what I was able to do for the team, we were only 3rd in the Continental rankings. 3 points. 3 points behind Direct Energy. And in the Super Prestige, as a team, we were 20th. Direct Energy was the highest ranked. CCC was the lowest. So we actually outscored CCC by 500 points. So we'll see what joining them does next year, as they were the lowest team from the World Tour in the ranking, in the Super Prestige rankings. So we're not exactly moving over to a team that's been winning a lot. Ineos won the Super Prestige as well. Not a massive margin over Movistar, but a ways ahead. A little bit of a gap to EF Education First there. And Duquesne, what would be considered a weak season for them, just 4th place in the standings. Jumbo-Visma, terrible season for them, just 8th in the standings, considering the talent they have. Not the budget, but the talent. Ineos led all with 45 victories. We had 13 as a team. 11 of them were claimed by me. And CCC, my future team, had just 10. In the world rankings, the Netherlands are on top by a small margin over the UK. And then Colombia, with France a very, very distant 4th place. The US was 16th. Continental rankings, much higher, 5th place. A lot of those points, half those points were mine. More than half. France led the Continental rankings. And in the Super Prestige, it's the UK taking the overall ahead of the Netherlands. And then Colombia, some distance off. France 4th, Australia, US 12th. With my help, we were 800 points clear of 13th, and we were less than 100 out of a spot in the top 10. Victories, France leading all with 109 victories on the year. And then the last thing that we're going to look at here is that would have been where it is right there. Latest results. No, there's a different way to look at this, right? Archives. There it is. Okay, so your 2020 Tour de France champion was Chris Froome. That is ultimately why he won. Richie Porte took 2nd, while Poles 3rd, Kruiswijk, and Geraint Thomas. So a 1-3 for Ineos, a 4-5 for Movistar, and 9 with Carapaz. Ineos also in the standings with Egan Bernal in 6th Sivakov in 8th and Kwiatkowski in 10th. Holy cow. No wonder they won the overall. At the other Grand Tours, we have the Giro d'Italia, where Miguel Angel Lopez claimed the victory over Richard Carapaz and Tom Dumoulin. And in La Vuelta, Dumoulin takes that one over Mikel Landa, and then Lopez, and then Froome taking 4th. Ivan Sosa, Enrique Mas, Leonard Kemna, Hugh Carthy, Rafael Micah, and Richard Carapaz. Simon Yates won the Santos Tour Down Under. Geraint Thomas won Paris-Nice. Kwiatkowski won Tirreno Adriatico. Catalonia was won by Miguel Angel Lopez. I claimed 11th in that. Basque Country, Adam Yates. Tour de Romandie, Primoz Roglic. Criterium de Dauphiné was Richard Carapaz. Tour de Suisse, I claimed 7th, with Geraint Thomas winning that one. Tour de Pologne is Jack Haig. Bing Bang Tour is Mads Pedersen. Let's skip to the major classics. Viviani, Milano San Remo. Pedersen taking Van Vlaanderen. Paris-Roubaix was De Mar. Dan Martin took Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and Il Lombardia goes to Rowan Dennis. Let's move on to next season. We've reached January 1st of 2021, ready to prep for a new season with a new team, seeing the World Tour for the first time. And we open with exactly what I expected. We've hit that point with our monthly progression that we have now leveled up. And in gaining level 17, we've gained a skill point, but we have unlocked the final set of races. Our next level is nothing but a skill point, so we're not seeing any more progression this current level or the next level, so it's going to be a while before we actually level up our attributes again. So we are where we are for a good while here. We have a chance to change our schedule, but I don't have a lot of points for that, and we do need to set up our preseason as well. So let's go ahead and jump into the season objectives. Of course, as always, we go for very high. There's no reason to go for anything but that, the way the game mechanics work. Now, Liège-Bastogne-Liège is not a race suited to me, but let's set ourselves up. The Worlds are what I'd like to focus on this year. So I think we could win it. 41 kilometers this year. I don't mind having the Tour de France as a target. I don't know if I'll be participating, but I did just unlock it. Our team certainly will have an invitation, and I am the team leader, so I could theoretically be at all 3 Grand Tours this year, or maybe a couple anyway. So what does that leave us for the beginning of the year? Paris-Nice would definitely be a good target. Yes, I think Paris-Nice. And then that will push us in terms of dates. That should work. That should work. Just over 2 months later, so we'll go pretty quickly into it. This is going to be a bit of a gap in between Fitness Peaks, but that's okay. And of course, I always hit them a bit early, but now with the 28 days, I have no problem with it overlapping into this. Now, the downside here is Tour de France, right? If I prep too early, it'll actually expire before the end of the race. The race takes 23 days, and the Fitness Peak lasts 28 days. I can only afford for it to start 5 days early. But typically with my rider, we're looking at, without even any races whatsoever, having it hit 11 days early. And that's for 56 days up to the race. I'm not going to go 56 days without racing. So for every 3 days that I race, it goes 1 day sooner. So if I do a week worth of racing, I'm looking at 2 weeks. Right? 9 days of racing and it's 2 weeks early. So I've got to really limit the races that I have prior to a Tour de France. Otherwise, we're going to be looking at, 2 weeks early would be it expiring 3 days before the end. But looking at the profile for the Tour de France, Stage 21 is not your typical Stage 21 at the Tour de France this year. It ends with a time trial. So, the Champs-Élysées is not there. Maybe it's at 17, maybe it's at 15. I have no idea, but we've got a different profile. So if we're ending 4 days early, look what we're hitting the final 4 days. The biggest climbs and one of 3 time trials. That's a prologue. Is there a team time trial in here somewhere? But do we push it back? Right? Because we can only, again, afford, 4 days? 5 days early? 5 days. But I'm almost certainly going to shave off 2 weeks. Which means really I want to push it back by about 10 days. Because I'd rather have the fitness peak, the +2, pretty much all the way through. And there's nothing here. I'd rather have it start a week in, realistically. So if I want it to start around the 13th, and I always shave off about 2 weeks, I would want it to start around the 27th. There's the 25th. There's the 27th. Okay. I'm going to set this as my target, with realistically it being the Tour de France as my target. This one I don't mind. It's 28 days. We'll get there. That'll recover. That'll be fine. And same with Paris-Nice. It's not a Grand Tour. It's not 21 days long. I don't need the fitness peak at the end of it. I think the fitness peak is more important than a +1 from this. I'd rather have the +2 from the fitness peak. And I'm not going to have it when I need it. So there you go. Okay. Well, that covers that part. Let's go ahead and accept. And now, let's look at the calendar. Am I even in for it? Or do I need to spend some points? So we are scheduled for the Tour Down Under. Mallorca. There we go. Mallorca. Let's see. Whatever that is. Andalusia. There's Paradis. Good. That's on the calendar. Milano San Remo. Not going to Catalonia this year. It's only a couple of hill stages. Not worth 15 points to go to. It's a decent first 3 months on the calendar. Basque Country. That is a terrible race for me to be in, but I don't want to spend 7 points to get rid of it. Liège-Bastogne Liège, I kind of get me being in it, not that it's a strength. I'm scheduled for the Giro. I will not be in a fitness peak. I will not be aiming for a win. Tour de Suisse. U.S. Championships. Oh, okay. Not scheduled for the Tour de France. But am scheduled for the Tour of Austria. Which is a good one, but profile's not as good as it looks on paper there. That goes on during the Tour. So, we need to spend 42 points if we want to go to the Tour this year. Now, with the fitness peak, I could compete for the best young rider. I certainly wouldn't be competing for a top position this year, but if I have the team support, I suppose we could always change this later, and not now. I mean, we've got plenty of time before we would need to change this and make the decision whether we want to go to the Tour. San Sebastian. And I'm scheduled for La Vuelta. So I am scheduled for 2 of the 3 Grand Tours already, as it is. And that's going to highlight the calendar for the year. Il Lombardia to end the season for us. That would be the only change I would make. I don't see any reason to change anything else. And because of a few or a couple Grand Tours, it lightens the rest of the schedule significantly. I mean, there's not a lot in here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 races in 2 months there. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 races through here. 4 tours spread out 2 to 3 weeks apart, and then 2 classics. It's relatively light schedule. So there's something to that. It's going to make the season go a lot faster. Ultimately, fewer episodes. Haven't needed this, so don't think it's going to be a thing. The networking, not as important. Excuse me. The charisma will certainly come in handy in the future, but again, even this year I'm only looking at spending maybe 42 points, and I've got 140 already as it is. So I think we're starting to look at another point here. This is handy. And then I want to start getting into this once I've maxed this out. It could be a while before we get there, but the discovery, it's fine. I don't mind learning on the fly. Like I've said before, it does add another element to the game. So, take a brief look at our team. I still only know 4 riders, but we're partly there on a lot of them already. So we've raced against many of them. In terms of salary, I'm the highest paid rider on the team. Van Avermaet and Paddy Bevan both signed up for next season already. Inkhorn signed a multi-year deal. Quite a few of the middle tier and lower tier guys are all signed up for next season already. Last thing I'm going to do here before we wrap up this episode. It's still January 1st. Set our fitness. So, as always, I don't want any of this mess. We're going to clean it right up. So, as is the case, we set hard, and then we're going to take breaks. We want a proper fitness schedule that's going to be sufficient for the entire year. Now I'm probably going to see a change with that Tour de France. So if I make that change later on and decide to take the additional Grand Tour on and partake in all three this year. And I don't mind waiting a year. There we go. So barring the minor change to the calendar, if we make it, we're all set for the year. High fitness throughout the year. Avoiding the fatigue throughout the year. We're set right now for 2 Grand Tours. I'll think about it. Decide if that's enough. I guess, hey, we could try to turn it into a... up to you. Let me know. Let me know in the comments below if you think I should alter the calendar to go ahead and take on the Tour de France this year and participate in all 3 Grand Tours in my very first season at World Tour level, or whether I should stick to the Giro and Vuelta and save the Tour de France for our sophomore season. That's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Be sure to drop a like below, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.